introduced Mr. Ranjan Kumar. He's been working as a program associate in National Institute of Disaster Management, South Campus, Vijayawada. Sir has done his MSW, MSc, LLB, and postgraduate diploma in preparedness and reconstruction and rehabilitation. He has 12 years experience in core risk reduction integration of DRR and climate change, adaptation, recovery and reconstruction, and hand-on experience in multi-issue project management, policy, planning, strategy in emergency response, training and capacity building, research and data analysis. Sir has vast experience in working with SARC, DMC, UNDP, UNICEF, and other national organizations on various issues. During his tenure, Mr. Ranjan Kumar at SAR Disaster Management Center, Delhi, was entrusted with the task of project management, disaster risk reduction, and climate change adaptation, along with post-disaster recovery and reconstruction. His major achievement, which outstanding, has been the management of key projects of SMDC, New Delhi, South Asia Knowledge Network and Digital Vulnerability Atlas, integration of disaster risk reduction and CCA, rapid risk assessment for resilient recovery for South Asia. He is an experienced hand in designing, planning and implementation of plan and project at regional, national and local level. He brings with him the rare combination of exposure variation from grassroots to national level. He has presented papers on various subjects in seminars and workshops. So we formally welcome you again, Sir, Mr. Ranjan Kumar, to take over the session. We will be having the session for almost close to 45 minutes, followed by interactive session. And for all the delegates, the information from us is after the session, in between we'll be having 5 minutes where you can address your queries regarding your registration problems at NIDM, and Dr. Balu will be facilitating you on the same. Thank you. On to you, Mr. Ranjan Kumar.
Thank you, ma'am. My voice is audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
First of all, on the behalf of NIDM, I give thanks to all participants joined here today. My voice is clear, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Give me 2-minute time for sharing PPT.
Yes, sir.
Just a minute, ma'am. I try to share. Please give me a presenter role. I try to share but not able to.
Sir, you can send it to Dr. Balu. Probably he'll try from his system, sir.
Okay.
Please send it, and probably you can start with a discussion, and then he'll start presenting it, sir.
Okay. I will able to present and share. But just make me a host here. Just a minute. Hold. Not able to share, ma'am.
Suresh sir, are you there? Dr. Suresh Kumar sir.
I go to share and click on Microsoft PowerPoint and also.
Dr. Suresh Kumar sir, are you there?
Please make me a presenter role. Give me a presenter role. Then I will be able to share.
Just a minute, Ranjan, I'll ensure.
Okay. शेयर ही नहीं हो पा रहा है.
Sir, Dr. Suresh is facilitating for you. He's
Okay.
facing some technical problem. Just 2-3 minutes, sir.
Okay, okay.
Mr. Ranjan, you may check once again. The role is already assigned to you.
You can check that as in the presenter role is enabled, so you can check now.
No projector also. I tried to share, but not able to. Okay, just a minute. I check. Not able to share till now.
Yeah, sorry for the inconvenience. Please wait. There are some updates, new changes in the software.
Okay.
So we will rectify soon.
Can you try now, sir?
Again. Okay.
Again, just now I updated it, showing that I'll do one thing. I'll give a post to you. Once after your session, you can revert me back, sir.
Well, first of all, I open my PowerPoint in window, desktop, and then go for a share and click on Microsoft Microsoft PowerPoint.
Can you check? Can you please check now? I given the host to you.
Yeah, you have given host.
Yeah, check now. Can you able to share the screen now?
Yeah, I will. I can share.
Okay, sir. Fine, fine.
But I click on share, then my window is open, and I have seen Microsoft PowerPoint my presentation. But again, I click on share, but not open. Balu, you have to share my PPT, and then I will. Well,
Sure, Ranjan. I am also facing the same problem. I could see there are some new updates in the software.
Same here,
Let us
sir.
wait.
Same here.
Yeah.
Sir, now I found that there is an option in his name. I can assign a make a presenter. You can check now, sir. You can able to make a presenter.
You mean to Mr. Ranjan or you are saying to me, sir?
No, yourself, sir. You can you try? I just made you an presenter. Can you check now? It is yeah. It's loading.
Sir?
It's loading, sir. It's loading.
But slide is not visible.
Yeah, it's loading, sir. It is showing that loading for me. Sir, are you joined from your laptop or mobile phone, sir?
Laptop.
It is showing it is loading only.
Okay, we'll wait for a few seconds.
Actually, in the morning only the software updated, sir. Earlier it was not updated.
Yeah.
The symbol is everything is changed. Earlier we don't have that kind of symbol. We used to have that round symbol. Now the symbol is changed.
Yeah, I have already checked. There is some changes. Mr. Kumar, otherwise, without PPT, you can continue by seeing PPT from your laptop. You can continue later on. We can share it because
Okay.
it's also unable to PPT.
Okay, just a minute.
Just open your PPT, see yourself and present
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Later on, share it in the group because
Okay,
time
okay.
is going.
Okay. A very good afternoon, good morning to everyone. Today topic regarding to commitment to children in disasters. We all know about the disaster. Any type of disaster happens, directly impact to the children. Because children are fully dependent on their parents. Child vulnerability is accentuated during any type of disasters. If I discuss about the one of the study UNICEF about 18,000 children affected from different type of disasters all over all in South Asia, and about 8.8 million children affected due to COVID-19 in South Asia. So generally, we have seen that children are more vulnerable than adults, either in earthquake, as for example, Bhuj earthquake 2001, 1,000 children lost their lives. As for example, Surat fires, about 30 to 40 children burn in this fire. So we have seen that the number of vulnerability of children is very high during any type of disasters. As a caregiver, as a parent, as a guardians, yeah, as a stakeholders, my responsibility to provide safety and safeguard to the children in any type of emergency situations. So first, I discuss about the disaster threaten in different way to the childrens. In the right, first of all, we discuss about the right of the children, different right to education, right to participation, right to say, right to primary education, number of rights given by UN Convention of Child Rights. But during disaster situation, in emergency situation, a state or any stakeholders not able to fulfill these rights. So as that in that situation, in any type of disasters, if we study about the different, we have seen different case study regarding to tsunami, number of children orphans, number of children lost their both parents, number of children drop out from school. So directly and indirectly, children are affected due to disasters. In past 2 decades, India has faced devastating disaster, number of disaster in past 2 decades, as per examples, tsunami 2004, Bhoj earthquake 2001, and cyclone, different type of cyclone in Odisha. And also recently we have a study about the COVID-19 pandemic situations. Number of children directly affected from in context to COVID during the COVID-19. In this situation, my commitment, my commitment to safeguard for the children. Children's well-being is very important. Children development is very important according to Child Right Commission. Child Right Commission. So even CRC had given 4 major rights to children regarding to child to participation, child to safeguard, different rights are given in UN Convention. So children are especially vulnerable to disasters. Children during the disaster due to lack of proper food supply and nutritious food, children affected due to malnutrition. Children also affected due to the violence and the violence and trafficking during the disaster. According to UNICEF data, in this, as for example, in recent COVID-19 situation, 3.1 million children all over the world are facing, are reinforced to work as a child laborers. So this type of situation created in any emergency situations. This disaster also affect, create different type of diseases like diarrhea, acute respiratory infections, malaria, malnutrition, all during the humanitarian, during the emergency situation. So in any disaster situation, children are more vulnerable and indirectly affected due to disasters. So in this situation, in this topic, we discuss about the commitment of different stakeholders for the well-being and safeguard of the children. So generally, we have seen that in future also vulnerability of children are expected to increase. In the last 2 decades, number, frequency, and number of occurrence of different disasters increasing. Intensity and frequency also accentuated during increases. So in that situation, as a primary duty bearers, a state remain the primary duty bearers and children are the right holders. So a state responsibility to provide protection to the children in any emergency situations. A state primary responsibility for responding to crisis, providing assistance to the victim and facilitating the work of a humanitarian actors. Humanitarian actors means provide all basic services in support of external, internal support, government support, INGO support. So need a special care, need a special support during the disaster situation. As a stakeholders, a state responsibility to fulfill all the responsibilities regarding to child protection in disaster situations. So now discuss about the different stakeholders have important role in disaster situations for the well-being of the children. So first of all, children is the stake right holders, and there are different stakeholders: parent, extended parents, the first caregiver of the children, then extended family, child care provider like friend, neighbor, cares, licensed professionals. These are the child care provider. A state and federal agency also one of the stakeholders provide the facility of a good education, provide the facility of good health, provide the facility of basic human services, and Another stakeholder also medical providers according to UN Convention of Child Right, good health services is also very important in emergency situation for the children, well-being of the children. Mental health provider is also a different NGO, psychosocial care and government agency also very important, play important role in for the safeguard of the children. Social service provider is also very important. Different schools and preschools, private education. These are the different stakeholders. Play a very important role in any child development process. In any disaster situation, the role of these stakeholders is very important. So now, first of all, regarding to discuss regarding to commitment. So different type of commitment regarding to health, regarding to water sanitation, regarding to education, regarding to primary health services. So the number of services need required during the emergency situation. So first of all, we have to focus on health. So first discuss about the maternal and neonatal health. 0 to 1 year phase is very 2 year phase, life cycle phase is very important. So quality of antenatal care is very important for pregnant women and adolescent girls is very in disaster situation. So we have to ensure the proper services, antenatal care services during for the pregnant women and adolescent girls. For the well-being of the children and mothers both. So, during this situation, the emergency situation, all the services disrupted, and as a state responsibility, as a stakeholder, as a caregiver, we have to ensure the need of a special care, antenatal care services to the to pregnant women and adolescent girls in emergency situations. So quality antenatal care will encourage women to seek a skilled care at childbirth, reduce childbirth complications for reducing childbirth complication and newborn death is also very important. The pregnant women and adolescent at least 4 visits of antenatal care visit are very important during the pregnancy situation for the pregnant women and adolescent girls. So pregnant women and adolescent girls receive a skilled attendance at birth, including essential newborn care with desired quality. The quality of antenatal care services is very important for the pregnant women and adolescent girls, and that facility should be properly facilitated during emergency situation also. Generally, in the emergency situation, we have seen that in case of mass displacement, in case of any disaster happens, this facility disrupted due to proper disruption of critical infrastructure like primary health center, Anganwadi centers. So these services fully disrupted during the disaster management situation. So quality of basic services regarding to antenatal care, postnatal services is required during the disaster situation for pregnant women and adolescents is very important. Mother and newborn receive yearly routine postnatal care within 2 days following the birth. So this is also very important. Mother and newborn receive ये बहुत जरूरी है. Yearly routine postnatal care is also very important within the 2 days and all following till birth. So this situation, maternal and neonatal services is very important for women and adolescent girls. Next, a small and sick newborn have access in patient level a special newborn care within 2 hours of travel times. For in case of a sick and a small and sick newborn baby, it is also very important to provide basic services, provide proper medical care and services within 2 hours of the travel time for the safety of the children and mother is very important. And another issue regarding to be discussed about the commitment regarding to routine vaccination. Routine vaccination is also very important for children and women, including heart disease area. They also ensure that these routine vaccination services is prime responsibility of a state responsibility to provide all services for the newborn baby and children is very important for reducing the risk of different type of epidemics. So women and children, this during vaccination campaigns, women and children also, yeah, community member also aware about the vaccination campaign, yeah, vaccination time, yeah, vaccination duration for routine immunization. So this type of services we have to ensure, we have to commit for the well-being. And generally we have seen that in emergency situation these services badly affected. In case of as for example in COVID-19, Anganwadi and public health services also badly disrupt and directly impact to the immunization systems, midday meals, lack of nutritious food, number of children suffered from malnutrition. So this type of situation created in emergency situation. So we have to ensure the proper immunization services during the mass displacement, yeah, during the emergency situation for the affected women and children in emergency situations. Now discuss about the health of child and adolescent health. So children and adolescents have safe and uninterrupted access to health services through functional health facility, schools, community-based activity and outward. So for children and adolescents, it is very important to uninterrupted health services at different levels. At this health facility in school, yeah, community-based activities, this services is very important for both children and adolescents. Children and adolescents receive quality, age, gender-appropriate prevention, diagnosis, treatment for common causes of illness and death. Children, it should also be it is also important to provide services appropriate gender, yeah, according to age, yeah, gender appropriate preventive and diagnosis services is also very important for reducing the risk of different disease and also for treatment of common cause of illness and death. So children, adolescents, and care access to need to strengthen psychosocial services for the children, adolescents, and caregiver also aware about this caregiver, yeah, community members also aware about this services, yeah, this services. Children, their caregiver and community are aware of available health services, how and where to access them. This dissemination of information regarding to all these services is also very important among the community, among the caregivers, parents, and different stakeholders is very important for well-being or good health for the health of the children. So adolescents have access to information on health, including sexual, reproductive, and mental health. So this type of information is very important, and generally in disaster period, yeah, disaster situations, yeah, mass displacement happens, yeah, suppose that in the current situation of COVID-19, all these services is not properly working in that situation, and in that situation, our responsibility as a parent care, yeah, as a stakeholders, it is very important to provide this information to their children caregivers, yeah, community members to aware about the facility of the health services. So these are the very important commitments regarding to the safety and good quality of health services for the children. Now discuss about the health regarding to the HIV/AIDS infected children and women. HIV prevention services are available and used, including information and post-rape care, HIV post-exposure prophylaxis, and sexually transmitted infection treatment. So HIV and AIDS is transmitted. So they to need to more care about these services, and also this services like HIV prevention services are available in wide in different hospitals in public health center. So we have to aware about what this type of services where this services is available, and the report and testing regarding to HIV testing is also should be confidential, and HIV and AIDS care and treatment services, including antiretroviral treatments, are available and access easily for the pregnant woman or child who are infected from this HIV/AIDS syndromes. Services for prevention of mother-to-child transmission of HIV are available and used by pregnant and lactating women. If these services is during the disaster situation, all these services not functioning very well. And then, so we have to ensure these services for the pregnant and lactating women who are suffer from this type of syndrome. So these services for prevention for mother to child transmission, for reducing the transmission of HIV from mother to child, it is very important to provide these services for further transmission of HIV. So children and adolescents and women who are start treatment and access continuous transmission are retained in care. So there is it is also important to take children and adolescents and women should immediately start treatment and access continuous treatment regarding to HIV and AIDS. This is very important for well-being of the children. So children and their caregiver and community are aware of how and where to access these services for HIV prevention, care, and treatment. It is also regarding to awareness. Awareness is very important, and children, their caregivers, and community also should be aware about how and where this services is available, and how to access these services easily accessible for all women and children for prevention from HIV. So this services is also very important, and it for the lactating and pregnant women who are infected from HIV and AIDS. Now discuss about the most important parts of nutrition. We have seen that one of the study of UNICEF for Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, about 26% children became 26% children affected from wastings, and about 29% children affected due to malnutrition from stunting. So situation is that nutrition is very important for the growth and development of the children. So as a caregiver of the children also need to focus regarding to proper supply, proper nutrition, provide proper services of nutritious food, vitamins for well-being of the children. So caregiver of the children aged 0 to 23 months are supported to adopt recommended recommended infant and young child feeding practices is very important. 0 to 20 years for the 0 to 23 months children is very important. It is very essential for breastfeeding. Yeah, complementary feeding is also very important for growth of the children, childs and protection of the child is very important. So children age 0 to 59 months have improved nutritional intake. So 0 to 59 months of the period is age of the children is also need to provide proper nutritious diets according to their age, according to the nutritious rich diet, according to their nutrition supplements, yeah, home for fortification of food and deworming prophylaxis according to conscious. So these nutritious services is very important for growth of the children, for brain development, physical development of the children, for the different age of according to their different age. So children in middle childhood have access to community and school-based package of intervention. We have seen that, we all know about that. Children in middle childhood, children engage in go to school and engage in community level package of intervention is also very important. Iron supplements, yeah, developing prophylaxis nutritious education, counseling and support is also very important. So, and as a state responsibility to provide all services, and these services is also very important for physical growth and physical development. Yeah, growth of the children is very important. So adolescents, girls and boys have access to community and SPLB package of intervention. So in nutrition nutrient deficiency create number of diseases among the children. So in emergency situation like in disaster situation, most of the children directly affected. In current situation, current pandemic situation, as for example of COVID-19, due to lack of proper supply of midday meal in school, due to the close down of the schools, children are badly affected due to the proper supply of nutritious food for the children is also directly impact on the health of the children and growth. The adolescents, girls and boys have access to community and school-based package intervention is also very important. Need to ensure as a caregiver, as a stakeholder, different stakeholder, our responsibility to provide these services. Pregnant women and breastfeeding mothers with a special attention to pregnant adolescents have access to package of intervention. जो स्पेशल पैकेज ऑफ इंटरवेंशन चाहिए ग्रोथ फॉर ग्रोथ ऑफ द चिल्ड्रेन या प्रेग्नेंट वुमेन या ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग मदर इज आल्सो वेरी एसेंशियल फॉर 0 to 2 years children is very important. Complementing breastfeeding is very important. So due to lack of proper supply of nutritious food, the children become affected due to malnutrition, and all children under the 5 infected area are screened regularly. We should also have a strengthen the mechanism to monitoring. This is regarded to monitoring. All children age under 5 years in affected area are screened. We have to need to monitoring. We have to screen regularly in affected area, and yearly detection of severe wasting and other form of life-threatening acute malnutrition is also essential for and also refer to appropriate treatment services is also important for the children's growth and development. So this nutrition is also very important. Nutrition is also very important. Nutritious food is also important for the children. And due to lack of proper nutritious food, the children become lost their weight, dry screens, a number of symptoms created among the children, weakness, brittle nails, loss of muscles and fatigue, bone and joint pains also created. So children, adolescents, caregiver and community are aware of available nutritious services and how and where to access them. as a caregiver, as a different stakeholder, yeah, as a guardian, yeah, as a state responsibility, we have to provide all information regarding to the services, yeah, regarding to the system for the about these services is very important. So children, adolescents, and care and community need to aware about where the services is available and how to access the services for the children's well-being. So this type of commitment is also very important for the children's well-being and safeguards. Another issue regarding to child protection. Child protection is also according to the child rights UNRC, child rights for UN Convention of Child Rights. Number of rights given regarding to number of rights given regarding to child, and one of the rights is also regarding to child protection. So child protection is also very important for children. In generally in disaster situations, child protection is a major issue for state, yeah, and different stakeholders. As for example, during the COVID-19 situation, we have seen that the number of cases of child trafficking, child marriage, child abuse are also increases during this pandemic. So child protection is a very important for child development, yeah, very for safeguard of the children. So civil registration system provide accessible and safe birth registrations certification for children and their family is also very important. So we have to strengthen civil registration system, ensure safe birth registrations of every child, ensure give certification of children and their family also is very important. Family and community support system also need to be strengthened and identified and strengthened these services, especially mental health, psychosocial services is also very important for the children, for the protection of the children. During the emergency situation, these services were badly affected, and most of the children being forced to work as a child labor, as a child trafficking cases is also increases in the emergency situation. So we have to need to identify and strengthen the system regarding to the child protection, child registration systems, services of mental health, psychosocial services is also very important for the children protection and well-being. The cause of child separation are also identified and need to take action and provide a preventive survey measures regarding to separation of children. So this type of services is also very important that we as a commitment, as a stakeholders, as a stakeholder, it is also very important to provide protection to the children and also strengthen these services at different level, local level to the state level or district level. We have to identify these services and strengthen these services and provide safety and security to the children. All accompanied or separated child should be identified or in family-based care or in suitable safe alternative care managers should be provided and ensured for the for the children for safety. UASC are registered, and this USC also should be registered and reunified and registered, and primary as a with primary care as a family member also aware about this. And this type of services, this type of mechanism need to be strengthened or at different levels, and on parents, caregivers, and guardians, yeah, state should provide information regarding to the services, how and where the services are available, and how to provide support and protection to children, especially who are separated from their families. And so we have to provide alternative and suitable arrangement for the care of the children and protections. So child protection is also very important, because always we have seen that in case of tsunami 2004, the number of children are affected due to the tsunami, and also became orphans, and children reinforced to work as a child labor cases are also increases during the tsunami period. So number of case studies available on the different public domains. So we have to need to enforce. We have to need to strengthen these services and civil registration services, services of mental health, psychosocial services is also very important. Need to identify the separated child, and accompanied child for providing alternative care and management for their protection. So these type of services is also very important for the children. Now, some children are also reinforced to work in mines, so we have to need to take also identify these children, and also provide preventive measures and alternative arrangement for safety of this. So driver and we have to also need to identify the causes and child recruitment in mines also, and also provide support to those children for prevention, and give alternative care management to those children for safety. So children who have excited armed force and or group are identified. Children who are excited for armed forces groups also should also be identified, and provide safety and community-based reintegration services is also essential for this type of children. So at risk children or community have access to age-appropriate education about the risk explosive problems. So we have to identify those children who are working in mines, those who are working with excited armed forces. We have to provide, identify and provide parenting and safety measure to those children. As a caregiver, as a state responsibility to provide these services, and this type of services is available at different level, and different agency working regarding to provide these services. So at this, children and community have access to age-appropriate education about the risk of explosive weapons. We have to aware the children and community and provide access appropriate age-based education regarding to the explosives and weapons and their risk and their vulnerability for preventing the children who involved in this type of actions. So formal and informal inquiry and surveillance system is also need to be strengthened, and priority setting mechanism for mine action intervention and child focused victim assistance are need to be placed for well-being of the children and protections who are involved in this type of activity and this type of action at a different level. So all children have access to safe, accessible, child and gender-sensitive reporting channel is also need to ensure and need to strengthen for safety of the children, for protection of the children and well-being and development of the children. Now discuss about the education. Formal and informal and non-formal education program also should be provided to all children. Yearly learning and skill-based education program also need to be available and provide these services to children for development, skill development, brain development, capacity development is also very important. So preventive measures are taken to be learning, environmental safe access, safe safe or resilience environment is also very important for the children from different type of disasters. There have been different type of impact of disasters, and also child friendly services is also very important in which children engage themselves for different activities. So this type of services you also need to ensure as a caregiver, as a community members, yeah, as a different as a stakeholders, yeah, as a guardian. It is very essential to provide those services to children who are who are affected from different type of disasters. Learning environment are free from sexual harassment, abuse, and violence. Learning environments should be essential. That should be free. Sexual harassment, abuse, and violence need to be a special care in school, yeah, in community level, and different institution is also very important. So preventive measures are taken to make learning environment healthy, free from disease outbreaks. So in this current situation, this pandemic situation, say, all schools are closed down, and need to children are drop out from different schools. Number of children are not drop out from especially in the rural children are not able to take a online classes. So and so now the situation is situation is school when school will open, need to take a special care of healthy health system, healthy environment for the children from free from different type of disease or outbreaks. Need to aware children about different type of do's and don'ts regarding to different disease. How to school sanitation, health sanitation and hygiene practices is also very important for children for reducing the different type of disease and outbreaks in among the children, and also need to ensure proper health hygiene practices system in school is also very important. So preventive measures is also very essential for the children and well-being. So we have to ensure these services for the children at school level, at community level, at family level. We have to need aware the children regarding to these services, and also need to capacity building to children. Need to make a behavioral change among the children regarding to the hygiene practices is also very important for future risk. Continuity of education for all children is also during this pandemic situation. Continuity of education is also very important issues for all children, parents, and also community members. Yeah, the education, administration of education administration. So need to continuity of education for all children is also ensures in any disaster situation, in any complex emergency situation, and with a specific that should be focus a specific focus on a specific attention to girls, child, other disability, refugee, displaced children, other marginalized, yeah, vulnerable children. According to the context of the girls children, according to boy, according to disability, all things should be considered before ensuring the continuity of the children. So we have to also consider the marginalized and vulnerable children, displaced children, and disabled children. All type of issues have to focus and give a specific attention before starting. Before open school during the pandemic, after the pandemic, and need to ensure continuity of education like online services and other services, and also provide school hygiene practices. They need to provide awareness, capacity building services, capacity building program for the children for aware about the different diseases in school. Now discuss about the most important part regarding to the for reducing the different risk regarding to disease. And so water and sanitation and hygiene is also most important in any disaster situation. In generally, most of the cases, suppose I have discussed about my experience in Kosi flood during Kosi flood 2008. I was the district project officer in Mathura during the Kosi flood 2008. Most of the water resources, yeah, sanitation services established in low-lying area in Madhepura. And during the flood situation, all these services submerged with flood waters, and this is the major issue in all these, all the this flood affected area. And community reinforced to take water from flood affected area, very hygienic situation, hygienic condition, and chances of increasing different type of disease, diarrhea among the children is also major issues in that area. So water and sanitation situation and hygiene practices is very important for reducing the risk of different disease and pandemic disease outbreaks. So quantity of water meets an initial minimum survival of 7.5 liter, at least 15 liters per person. Water is very important according to WHO standard guidelines, national standard guidelines. So quality of water is also important for the safety, safety of the children, for the well-being of the children. So quality of water means WHO or national standard is also should be considered in affected area for the children, yeah, for the women, pregnant women, for the community is also essential. Need to a special focus for practices regarding to open defecations. Number of water and sanitation and hygiene practices program conducted by the government, but till now in most of the area open defecation is going on. So we have to ensure the reducing the practices of open defecation is also very important for reducing the risk of disease, different type of disease outbreaks regarding so science. Sanitation and hygiene practices is also very important. Maximum ratio of 20 people per function shared toilet is also very important according to WHO and UNICEF guidelines and national standards. So we have to focus, we have to ensure this standard, this type of services for the children, pregnant women, your community, for well-being and for reducing the future risk. Now, separate toilets should be also for women, men, women with locks is also need to take a special care. Child-friendly features is also involved in toilets. Hand washing facilities also ensure in toilets. This type of ensure adapted to this toilet ensure adapted to people with disabilities also need to be considered need to be considered for better sanitation and hygiene practices for all different type of different types of like children, like disabled children, like handicapped, like men and women. So we have to need to a special care. We have to need to provide separate toilet of men, women, disabled, child-friendly friendly feature services also incorporated in that toilets according to their inconvenience. So sanitation services meet at least a limited level as GMP, joint monitoring program standard of WHO and UNICEF. We have to ensure sanitation services for all. Excreta is safely contained, collected, and transported. We have to ensure if excreta should be safely contained, safely collected and transported and treated and disposed of in a way that safeguard public health. We have to consider safeguarding public health. We also need to consider and also essential for future health risks. Adolescents benefit from hygiene awareness raising activity and have access to hygiene and menstruation health information is also adolescents benefit hygiene awareness raising activity regarding to schools hygiene and regarding to hand washing. Suppose as for example, for reducing the impact of COVID-19, for the reducing the impact of for reducing or breaking the chain of COVID-19. Hygiene awareness is also very important. Do's and don'ts, hand washing practices, social distancing, psychosocial support, clean safety environments, resilience. So these type of services also need to be provide to all adolescents and children for future risk regarding to different type of disease outbreak. So children need to be aware about different activities and also need to easily accessible to the children regarding to need to all information regarding to hygiene and nutrition health is also important for well-being of the children. Learning facility, schools for the children, child-friendly spaces, protection transit center have at least basic DMP services level for water, sanitation, and hygiene services. We have to ensure in schools, yeah, learning facility institutions, yeah, for the children, yeah, child-friendly spaces, protection child centers. Basic services, JMP for services of water related, water sanitation and health services also need to be ensured for each and every school in each and every institution, yeah, at a community, and that should be child friendly. Children easily accessible these services according to their convenience. Need to ensure all services in schools and different learning institutions. Aware of key health risks related to water, sanitation, and hygiene can adopt measures to reduce them. Awareness is also very important, and awareness and dissemination is also very important for reducing the risk on risk regarding to health risk. For to need to strengthen, need to ensure awareness capacity programs related to water, sanitation, and hygiene practices and different adaptive measures for reducing the risk is also disseminate among the children's community and different between different stakeholders is also very important. Hand wash, we have to also ensure about hand washing facilities in schools, community centers, yeah, any institution is also very important. And these services should be easily accessible, and we have already seen during the COVID situation, hand washing is also very important. 20-second hand washing is very important for prevention from this COVID-19 infections. So hand washing facility is also very important. It should be easily available for children's and communities. Access to necessary hygiene items like the hygiene necessary hygiene items is also important, like some sanitizer, soaps is also very important and need to be easily accessible in each and every institutions for the safety of the for reduction or reducing the risk of different disease outbreak. Another area of social protection is also need to be a special care. So social protection is also very important, especially for women and girl child is also addressing their need to addressing their risk and their vulnerability, their life being different life cycle of in their life cycles. So as women and girls easily accessible to services and infrastructures related to medical hygiene practices, yeah, water sanitation practices, yeah, social infrastructure practices. So appropriate and feasible multi-sector humanitarian cash transfer and design to strengthen and build nation social protection system. Need to strengthen social protection system, provide services of cash transfer and design to strengthen and build nation social protection system is also very. A scale of social transfer programs, social transfer related programs is also very important, included group at risk of social exclusion. So for reducing the risk of social exclusion is also very important. A scale of social transfer to respond to newly identified newly we have to need to scale up social transfers to respond for reducing to respond to newly identified. We have to identify newly risk social risk, social related social protection related risk. We also need to be identified and provide need to scale up social transfer is also very important. Another gender equality and empowerment of girls and women is also need to be take care in case during the emergency situation. So as a stakeholder, we have to provide strengthen the mechanism for regarding to gender equality and empowerment of girls and women. Organizations, those who are working for adolescents, girls, women rights, and youth are also engaged in program design and delivery and monitoring is also very important. Participation of adolescents and women is also very important before designing any program. Engagement of girls, child, women and child, yeah. Gender issues also need to advocate before developing any program design regarding to the gender and gender and girls empowerment of girls and women. Women and adolescents girls are equitably represented in community feedback and complaint mechanism. So we have to ensure women and adolescents girls should effectively represent, equitably participate in community level development program, community level feedback and complaint mechanism. So we have to, as a stakeholder, ensure these services on different level, as a district level, block level, state level. We have to need to strengthen these services for women empowerment and gender equality. Men and boys need to mobilize to support and promote gender equality. We have to ensure, we have to mobilize the men and boys for promoting the gender equality and rights. And engagement of women and girls is also very important for empowerment of the women and child. We have to involve girls and women in different development programs, any related to climate change, related to hygiene practices, water and sanitation, any development, education development program need to more participation of women and child. Need to be focused more on engagement of women and girls is also very important. Inclusion of person with disability also need to be identified and also provide support. So identify risk and barriers faced by children with disability. We have to identify the risk and vulnerability of disabled children, and also need to be assessment and situational analysis of these disabled children, and provide special services, accessibility, communication and information to disabled related to disabled children. And develop a strengthened mechanism and support to disabled children for well-being of disabled children. So physical accessibility for children with disability, including planning and design of humanitarian services is also. So we have to need incorporate children with disability related issues. Physical accessibility is also in planning and implementation process resources and any type of facility, humanitarian services and facility is also very important for well-being of the disabled children. Community-based mechanism exist for systematic engagement of children with disability. We have to need to more focus.
Mr. Ranjan, sorry to interrupt. Still,
5 more minutes I have to take.
Okay, Mr.
Here, another issue need to more focus, need to commit adjusted total need to more focus. Early childhood development is also very important. We have to targeted intervention for young children are integrated into health, nutrition, wash, child protection, education, yearly learning and parenting program. So we have to need here according to UN Convention that we need to more participation of the children. So youth and children also need to more intervention, need to more engage in different type of development programs related to health, nutrition, sports, child protection is also very essential for well-being of the children. Support to practices nursing care is also available. So inclusive gender sensitive with parents and caregivers, specific attention to adolescents and young parents is also incorporated in planning process and strengthen this mechanism for early childhood development is also important. Training in regarding to ECD and nursing care is also incorporated in development programs related to health, nutrition, sports, child protection, and education. As a frontline worker and partner, we have to ensure all these services for early childhood developments. Adolescent development and participation is also very important according to their gender, according to their age specific services easily accessible for the children. Children easily accessible all development related mechanism program easily accessible for the children. We have to design easily accessible. We have to design program for easily for children and adolescent development, and need to focus more participation of girl and adolescent children in skill development. And different levels. The adolescents are supported and promoted as agent of need to adolescents. We have to focus. We have to emphasis on adolescents to promote as a change agent, because youth are the future leadership of country. So need to more participation of as a child-centric disaster risk reduction centers. And main focus we have to work with the children for the children. So adolescents and adolescent participation is also very important. Public need to be more focused to strengthen public health emergency services is also very important. So interagency and intersectoral coordination mechanisms also need to be developed. Cross-border and role and responsibility of different sectors also be need to be focused and identified the gaps, and need to focus on proper monitoring system is also very important. Such development and emergency procedure also be activated and provide no regret should be no regret basis. So this type of services is also very important. The risk of geographical spread of outbreak and potential impact are monitored. So a special monitoring mechanism will also need to be strengthened regarding to all emergency situations, regarding to actually the vulnerability of children, vulnerability risk and vulnerability are according to the demographic condition are vary. So need to be a special care. A specific need and vulnerability of children who are considered prevention and treatment protocol is also need to be designed, and patient-based center treatment program also will need to be developed for with focus of women, children, disabled children, and need to promote at different level, community level, public health emergency services also need to be strengthened. Reach with infection and prevention control is also more focused and direct for the children's well-being. Reducing transmission need to be focused to reducing the transmission and public health emergency related morbidity access condition is also need to be more care and accessible to you and the family directly indirectly by public health emergency need to be focused, and we have to provide preventive measures and services, awareness program, capacity building services to family and community regarding to the public health emergency. Children directly affected by public health emergency receive an integrated package of medical, nutrition, and psycho. So all nutrition, medical services incorporated in development program, and children need to be more focused. Children need to be easily accessible. All these services, integrated services for reducing the risk of public health emergency. Continue and safe access to education is also should be maintained. And need to be focused. Another related issue, the refugee and migrant and internally displaced person also need to be considered during the emergency. As a stakeholder, we have to develop a mechanism, interagency and intersectoral coordination, cross-border coordination is also very important. Allocate clear and role responsibility of different stakeholders, need to gap analysis, and also provide a monitoring mechanism and provide a special services to the migrants and internally displaced persons. Best interest procedures are in place appropriately, and resource and monitor these are also important. So the personal indirect and contact with children are appropriately trained and skilled. So these type of services are also very important. Child-friendly reception, accommodation, and care arrangements are available that provide and educate living as separate family and sibling to stay together. So these facilities also ensure for the migrants and internally displaced persons, and they need to be aware about where and how these services should acquired. So child safeguard and child protection policy is also incorporated, and need monitoring, special attention monitoring system is also integrated with different center and located in hosting children and family. They on different locations. So unaccompanied or separated children have access to alternative care options, and minimum standards also need to be focused. So this type of services, timely services, is also more important. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And now probably we will take the question answer session towards the end. Is that okay, sir?
Okay,
Is
okay.
that okay? Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, sir. So I request Dr. Balu now to just brief how to go about the registration process at NIDM, and then probably you can start with your session, sir.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Dear delegates, please listen to what Dr. Balu has to say regarding the registration format on NIDM. And if you
I'm
have any
trying to share
queries, you
my
can post it in the chat box.
Thank you. I'm trying to screen. So, share box also guide. By clicking the link, you do once you need link which and click the IDM portal will open. After you need make
Dr.
one
Balu,
registration.
your voice is Dr.
You
Balu,
need
your voice.
new
Dr. Balu, your voice is not clear. Your voice
new
is not
participant.
clear.
Yeah, I'm repeating, ma'am. Hope is it found?
Yes, yes, your voice is breaking.
Is it okay
Just
now?
speak slowly, sir. Don't, yeah.
Is it okay?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
We are sharing in the chat box. You link after the link portal will open. So open it to click register. After register one registration window will open. Enter your name, email ID, to generate your, and also after generating password, your personal details also need to be filled. So after filling, you will be having a email ID and password. Now you will be having a email ID and password. Once again,
Sir, it is getting loaded. You please repeat once the screen appears and then probably you can explain, sir.
oh, yes, ma'am, right. So, is the NIDM portal is visible, ma'am?
No, it's slowly getting loaded. Yes, sir. Yes, now it's loaded, sir.
Is the NIDM portal is visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, it's visible.
No, NIDM. Yeah. So once you click the link, this is the page will open.
Yes, yes.
So thank you. So this is the new user option. If you are a new user to this portal, you need to click register, right? If you are a new user, you need to click register. So once you click the register, the new participant registration window will open. So you need to enter your name, first name, last name, email address, mobile number, and you need to generate the password. And please, I request all of you kindly note down your password. If you are forgetting the password, right now there is no option for changing or reset your password, right? So after filling all, you need to click on. So this is the many times. So after registration, come back to home. Now you will be having your email ID and password. So enter your email ID. So enter your email ID and password. So after generating password, you need to enter. You need to click home. Once you click home, you could able to see this login portal, and you need to enter your email ID and password. After that, again click login. So once you click login, you can click on upcoming events. Right now, you can see all the program of this NIDM. The first one you can see online training, process orientation training program on child-centric disaster risk reduction, Pondicherry, collaborative agency, Pondicherry University. You need to click enroll. If you couldn't find this program, please type in search box. You can see the program. Please check it. We are having like a third one also. Sorry, the fifth one is also the after finding this program, click enroll. So once you click enroll, now you are successfully enrolled. You will be receiving a mail. You will be receiving a mail from NIDM portal. Now, so it will show this start course window. So you don't worry about it. Once you click enroll, your duty is over. The same way you need to download your certificate. Okay, I hope everyone understand the process of registration, and we have also shared the guide for registration process. Please check the guide if you are having any doubt. Okay, and sometimes it may not work in your mobile phone because your settings may not allow you to register. So in that case, you need to check your mobile phone settings, or you may try through desktop also. Fine. So I hope everyone understand. Right here, after successful completion of the course, when we are informing to download your e-certificate, you need to log in with your email ID and password the same way. Click completed events. See here in this, here completed events options are there. So once you click completed event, like this window will open, right? So feedback option is available. Once you click the feedback, this is an example I have already done. You need to fill up the feedback. So once you completed feedback, now you can see in the same place, certificate option will be visible. Certificate will be enabled here, right? So this is the process. Once you click the certificate, now your certificate will be downloaded. Yeah, this is the process of downloading your certificate, right? I hope everyone understood. Sometime it may not work in mobile, so please try through your desktop. And using for registration, if you're using some different email ID and if you participated the event with different email ID, then also the completed event will not be visible. And for registration, I'm repeating, it's a two-step process. Please remember, it is a two-step process. You need to make one-time registration. See, first, if you are a new user, click register. All these details, you will be completing the registration. After that, again, you need to log in with your email ID and password and enroll. Okay, so these are the two steps you need to complete so that you will be eligible to get this certificate. If someone has only registered, then you will not get the certificate. Please make that you registered and enrolled in this particular course. And those who have already completed may also guide others. Okay, so once you have made a one-time registration, and you may, again, you no need to do one-time registration, just you can log in with your email ID and password, and whatever the course you want to join, you can just enroll yourself, right? So now let me move on to the, if any doubts, you can ask regarding the registration.
Dr. Balu, there are two doubts which have come up regarding registration. Can I read it out for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so there is Mr. Anandu B who says, so if we don't have to click start course after enrolling, should we click start course after enrolling? That's one. And the other one is, I have registered and enrolled. It shows start course now. What does that mean? Will I be able to get certificate if that shows start course?
Yeah. See, once you enroll, it will show start course. The purpose of showing that is you can join the course through our portal also. Once you click start course, you can join the meeting from there also. So you no need to worry about it if it shows start course. Okay, that is for the purpose of joining to the program. Hope understood.
Okay.
So you no need to
What
worry about it. You are successfully completed enrollment if it shows start course.
Sir, in the middle of the session, probably towards the end, if there are a couple of doubts coming up, we'll sort it out towards last, sir. Thank you. You can begin the presentation.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. So I think I'm having a weak network, so I may not turn on my video. So I'll running through with only audio. Kindly bear with me. So in this session, we will be discussing about engaging children in disaster risk reduction activities, right? So as in the previous session, you all have discussed about the children are having a different rights as per United Nations Convention on Rights of the Children. And one of the major right is right to participation. So each and every child, irrespective of age, religion, gender, and their ability, they have a right to participate in all the activities. So they have a right to participation in the disaster risk management activities also. And another thing, the children and youth are the major potential and they are able person. So we need to utilize their potential. So we also need to engage the children in the disaster risk reduction activity. So first of all, it may come to your mind how we can involve children in DRR. So we need to understand who is youth first. Okay, so we need to understand who is youth. So can anyone tell me who is youth? As per your understanding, I request all of you to kindly type in the chat box. As per your understanding, I'm just watching the chat box. You may type it. Who is youth? I'm sorry for the question. Instead of asking who is child, I have asked who is youth. So I'm repeating the question, who is child? Who is child? It is a question. So I request all of you to kindly type in the chat box. Who is children? How will you define the children? I got some answers, just I'll read out. Anand Babu has written 14 years and Fatima has written 14. Under 14 is children. Bobji has written 12 years and Lopamutra has written a person whose age is under 14 years. Anyone below the age of 14 years, under 12. Okay. So, and children means it usually it comes to our mind that the children below 14 or below 10 or below 5 years. So that only used to comes to our mind. So we may think how we can engage the children in the disaster risk reduction activities, right? So this is the confusion which we all are having. So first of all, we need to understand who is child, right? So in India, we are having the different definitions. For example, as per Child Labor Act, the person below 14 years, they all are called children, right? And if you take a Marriage Act, it varies for boys and girls, 21 and 18, and now it's going to be same for boys and girls, right? And if you take a Mines Labor Act, again, it is 18. The person below 18, they all are called children. So what we are referring here is, uh, as per United Nations Convention on Rights of the Children, the person below 18, they all are called children, right? I hope now you all understood. Yeah, the person who is below 18 years, they all are called children. That's what we need to understand. So now you will get an idea. Definitely we can engage the children in the disaster risk reduction activities, right? And the adolescents are unmatched by any other demographic group in the ability. For example, we have a infant and we have a childhood age, right? And we have a youth and we have a adult and old age people, right? So if you match with the adolescents demographic group, adolescents with any other demographic group like adult or any other old age people, it is unmatchable and their ability is something different. They can achieve whatever they want, whatever they feel it, and whatever they want to achieve it, right? So they have a different kind of ability what they can achieve it. And second, it's also an empowered young people can also become an independent, responsible citizen. They also can take up leadership roles, right? See, during this COVID-19, the first point which I would like to make it is the empowered young people. They can be an independent, responsible person. What they can do a lot of disaster risk reduction activities, and they can be a role model, and they also can take a leadership in the disaster risk reduction activities, right? And during this COVID wave one, Mr. Parushya has made a 400 relief centers in New Delhi. See, he is also an adolescent, right? And he has made a 400 relief centers with his own effort, and he made some quarantine centers for supporting the COVID-19 infected people. And another person, Mr. Abhisman, he also developed a COVID website at United States of America, and that website has given the data of the number of infected people and all other COVID-19 related information. And more than 4 million people have been accessed that website for getting the information, right? And I was also talking about the right to participation. So as per human rights and also United Nations Convention on Rights of the Children, each and every child has a right to participation. And if you see at the many corners of the world, whenever the disaster occurs, and the children and you have played a greater role for reducing the risk, and they have played a role of change agents, and they have become a powerful person, right? There are a lot of examples, like I've given this man and Perusia, and also I'll give some more example during my session. So now let us understand the importance of engaging adolescents in the disaster risk management activities, right? So we were told in the initially engaging children in the DRR, right? So now we are talking about engaging adolescents. Why? Because we can divide the life cycle of a child into 5 different phases, right? So the life cycle of child starts from the prenatal stage. The 9 months of pregnancy is called prenatal, right? So during that phase, either the pregnant women can't be involved in any DRR activity. And then the second phase is called child infant, 0 to 2 years old is called infant, right? And the third phase of your life cycle of your child is 3 to 5 years old. It is called early childhood. Okay, and the fourth phase is 6 to 12 years. They are called children, right? And the 13 to 18 years, right? They are called adolescents. So depends on their ability and their capacity and their interest, we need to engage the children in the disaster risk reduction activity. So mostly if you see the adolescents group, even sometime the children, so the person above the age of 6 6 to 12 is children, and 13 to 18 years adolescents we call. So these two category of children can be actively involved in the disaster risk reduction activities. Again, it is depends on their uh, ability and their interest and their capacity. Okay, and many times if you see any type of disasters, who is responding immediately? The local adolescents. They have been often found responding to any disasters by rescuing the people and distributing the relief materials. So if you take any example of any type of disasters, I'll like to share the experience of uh, Kerala flood. The large number of adolescents, the school going children, and they have been actively engaged in the rescue activities. What happened was the national disaster response force, they have because the members from NDRF were in different parts of our country, they do not know the local language. So when the local people are calling, they couldn't identify the exact location. So these age group, the adolescents, they have been played a role of bridging the role between the people who need a support and the people who are going to support through the NDRF. So they have uh, played a role of translating what they are saying, or where the place is exactly the rescue place. So they have communicated whatever the information comes, they have communicated to the NDRF, and the NDRF team went and they have rescued. So these are all certain examples. Always the local youth used to respond immediately, and they have also been involved in the distributing relief materials. And you also can see a lot of examples at worldwide, and even in the like uh, flood in the Bangladesh, or earthquake at Nepal. In all the times, the youth have been actively involved in the risk reduction the activities, right? And the youth also have an important environmental concerns and responsibilities through NSS and the NCC. The youth group also being jointly involved in water bodies, conservation of water bodies, or renovation or tree plantation activities were also being done. And they also exposed to a number of environmental hazards like water and air quality, water hazards like a poor water and air quality, and also like a high level atmospheric pollution, noise pollution, right? And the youth have been also adolescents have been also involved in such activities for creating awareness. And they are the major people who voluntarily took accountability to take actions to protect themselves and their surroundings. So I have also observed in my since my childhood, and even during this COVID-19 also, a large number of adolescents, they have been actively involved in supporting to the poor people for distributing the relief materials during the lockdown, and they have also involved in sanitizing the public places. They have joined hands with the local government, and they have involved in creating awareness for wearing the mask. Even nowadays also I've seen they are also involved in creating awareness about taking COVID test, right? So one side they are protecting themselves, and also they are protecting their surroundings. And Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports also have a lot of volunteer program to engage the adolescents in the disaster risk reduction activities. So it is very important we need to engage the adolescents in the disaster risk management activities. So now let us see what are the institutional mechanism available for engaging the adolescents or children in the disaster risk management activities. Yeah. See, at the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, they have a different programs like Nehru Yuva Kendra, Sankaten, and they also have a national service scheme, right? These are the two major programs. And this Nehru Yuva Kendra, Sankaten, NYKS is promote having a headquarters at national level and state level and regional level. They have a zonal offices in 29 states, and at district level also they are having a district offices, and at block level they have a national youth corps, right? It's a block level clubs, and at village level they have a youth club, right? This is the old data which is given here. So where the people or the adolescents, they can join in this youth club at village level, and they can uh, support for the people to reduce the risk whenever the hazards happen or disaster occurs. The youth can get or adolescent can get a chance to support the people through these clubs. And there are various case studies they have also how these youth clubs have been actively involved in the disaster risk reduction at village level, right? And the second one is national service scheme. As you all aware, many of us, when we have studied in school and colleges, also we may be involved in, we may be joined in NSS, and we have served, right? And the NSS have a regional centers, and they have also state liaison cells, and at schools and colleges and universities they have a NSS, and the volunteers can join through this program. And many NSS volunteers also now recently working on this COVID-19 risk reduction activities, and they have also involved in various activities of at even to maintain the monitor the containment zone or people who are living in the COVID-19 containment zones. And the another mechanism available at our country is Ministry of Defense, as you all aware, and this National Cadet Corps, we call it NCC, is being run through this Ministry of Defense. Ministry of Defense, and the schools and colleges were also having this NCC, where the students can join at NCC, and they can also involve actively in the disaster risk reduction activities. And there are some case studies which I'll be sharing to you. And again, the Ministry of Home Affairs also have a civil defense, and they have a state directorates and district offices, and the people can join as a volunteer in the civil defense, and they also can work for the disaster risk reduction activities. So at national level, we have this Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Home Affairs, which has a lot of institutional mechanism for joining or engaging the adolescents in the disaster risk reduction activities. So now let us see some of the strategies how we can engage the adolescents in the disaster risk reduction activity. So we need to engage the adolescents and youth in all phases of disaster management. Yesterday we have seen the different phases like prevents pre-disaster management phase and post-disaster management. So two types. So during the pre-disaster, we can engage them in the preparedness activity for creating awareness or through capacity building programs, or they can be also involved in the mitigation activities. Right, during the post-disaster, they can be also involved in reconstruction and recovery activities. During the disaster, also these adolescents can be involved in rescue and evacuating the people who are stuck somewhere. Right. So overall, we can engage the adolescents in all phases of disaster risk management activities. And we also need to focus on environmental resource management, impacting the impact of climate change. So the climate change is another major issue which we are facing. Because of that, the intensity and frequency of disasters were also being increased, so the youth can be involved focusing on the environmental resource management at village level. We are having a lot of natural resources like water bodies, tanks, rivers, right, canals, and there are a lot of encroachments. So this group also can be involved in renovating such water bodies and also afforestation, right? Right. So in these kind of environmental resource management activities also can be done by the youth. And we also need to establish the institutional linkages and promote convergence of initiatives. So one side here we are having the NSS, NCC, and also NYKS, right? So we need to make a convergence and institutional linkages. For example, a student group of students who is studying at city and a volunteer of NSS may visit the village, and they may not aware what they need to do at village level for natural resource management, or environmental resource management or disaster risk reduction activity. So at the time they also can approach these youth clubs at village level through NYKS. So we need to make such kind of linkages so that, and convergence of initiatives, so that it can be strengthened. And we also need to look after the building the capacity of institutions and individuals. Though most of the NSS and NCC volunteers, they want to do such DRR activities, but somewhere it is lacking. We also need to conduct a lot of training programs and capacity building programs for these NSS and NCC volunteers and other volunteers who are at village level. And we also can use the information communication technology to promote and connect with volunteers. So like for example, the youths, the adolescents who are in the city, and they may want to do a certain work at the village level. They want to, like there is a group at Chennai, they used to visit each Sunday, they used to visit some water body and they used to clean it, but they do not know where to go and how to do it. So in that situation we can use such kind of like a social media or the information communication technology which is available to connect with the volunteers. All right. And there are many individual volunteers who also want to work, but they do not know where to go and they do not know how to do it alone. So we need to use such information communication technologies and social medias to connect the volunteers, right? And we also can set up a technical advisory board and mentoring groups to identify local youth leaders, right? And so if you visit any village, you can easily find a leader. There will be a one person, and around him you can find at least 10 to 15 youths. So I have been observed many places wherever I visited. So we need to identify such youth leaders, and we also need to train them. And so when we build the capacity of such youth leaders, and they can be a change agent and they can actively involve in the disaster risk reduction activities. All right. So the next strategy is strengthening the networks with civil society organization and promote volunteerism. So as previously I was saying that many individual volunteers, they do not know where to go and how to approach for doing such kind of disaster risk reduction activity. So we need to strengthen the network of civil society organizations. We have a huge number of non-governmental organizations and trusts and NGOs, so many things. So we need to build their network, and we need to connect the youth or children with them so that they can be actively engaged. And we also need to advocate the role of volunteers through social and print media. So many people, they want to do certain activities, but they are not aware what to do, how to do. So we can also create awareness or advocate through the social media what kind of activities can be done, and what is the importance of involving or engaging the adolescents in the disaster risk management activities. And so the institutions and civil society organizations, they also need to monitor and evaluate the plan whatever they are making, and we need to incorporate with the plan to engage the adolescents in whatever the DR activity which they are doing. And another important aspect, we also need to do a resource mobilization. So one side, the adolescents are the best group where they can mobilize the resources. If they want, they can immediately mobilize money or material, whatever it is, right? So one side, they can be actively involved in mobilizing the resources, and another side, to improve the status of engaging children in DRR, we also need to make certain resources to be available so that they can be actively engaged. And we also need to build a partnership with the private sector so that they also can involve in the DRR activities. And we also need to design certain community based projects where when we are designing such projects, we should not think only adults should be involved. We also need to engage the adolescents in such community based projects. And we also need to implement and supporting actions to promote the volunteerism among the adolescents group. Now let us talk about the ladder of adolescents participation. There are some difference. The first ladder we can say it's a manipulation. Manipulation is the activities led by adult and the youth do without understanding the purpose. So manipulation means here the activity may be started by the adult. So maybe it can be done by the adolescents or youth, but they do not understand the purpose. Without understanding, they used to do the activities because the adults, the village leaders, they may do such activities, so they following them without understanding for what purpose they are doing, this group also may do. So this is not a standard, right? And the second, decoration activity, here the activity led by adult. So the adolescents or youth understand the purpose, but they not put how they are planned. Okay, they do not know how they have planned and why they have planned, why these activities were being done. The youth were adult were doing, so what purpose it was done, just they have understood, but how these activities were being planned and how it was, where the resources were mobilized, where the materials were mobilized, that kind of things were not aware by the youth. And the third one is that stage is tokenism. These activities are led by the adult and youth may be consulted with minimum. Just for the namesake, the group or the leader, village leaders, they may ask the youth, right? They are, shall we do this activity or not? They are not consulting, just they ask. They are not, it is not a proper consultation, just asking their opinion, like, right? So this is the third stage. And the fourth one is the activities are assigned but informed. So you have to do and why you have to do, right? It is fully guided by the adult. And the fifth stage is consulted and informed. So the adult group led the activity, and they also consult with adolescents, and they have also been informed why we are doing and how these activities were planned, how the resources were being mobilized. Okay, and the sixth stage is the activities were being adult initiated and shared decision with the children. Okay, the activity is completely decided by the adults, and just they have shared the decision. This is the decision which you have taken, just they are informing. And the seventh stage is child initiated and directed. The activities were being initiated by the children, and the adult or the experienced guy will direct the people. Okay, the final stage is the child initiator and share the decisions with adults. So completely the child group, they take a responsibility, they plan and they execute, and just they inform to the adults. So this is the standard where we can say when the children were actively engaged, right? So I would like to give certain case studies. So here, so you many people you may not remember or may aware, there was a train disaster relief activity which was done by the NCC cadets. And this Janeshwari Express got an accident in the West Midnapur. It is a 1:30 a.m. on 2010, 28th May. Right? You just see the time. Everyone get a deep sleep at this time, and the train got an accident, and more than 150 passengers they have died, and many people got an injury in this accident. And the NCC commander has instructed to mobilize the NCC cadets. And the time you see the month, it was in May. So as you all aware that it is a vacation, many times the children may gone to their relatives home or they gone for their vacations. So it is very difficult to mobilize. But even though the commandant has mobilized 200 boys and girls to carry out the rescue operations, right? And they have been involved in the crowd management. As you all aware, when the disaster, anything happens, people used to come as a crowd, and so they have been involved. The NCC cadets were involved in the crowd management, and they have also donated their bloods, and they also temporary camp they have made it, and so as you are aware, the people also need a food in the rescue camp, and the affected people also need a food. So they made a community kitchen, and they have been involved in the food and water distributions. And this group also helped the disaster management team who was involved in the rescue operations. And again, since they are NCC people, they are also involved in the evacuation of injury people, and also helping the patients. And again, this group were also involved in the removal of guarding the package recovered from the train. So the overall, the entire relief activity was done by the NCC cadets. Okay, and the second important case study what I'd like to share here is earthquakes in Hilari, Latur district of Maharashtra. The NSS volunteers. So you know that I didn't put any pictures here. After this earthquake, there was a huge damage to the materials and infrastructures. Everything has been demolished. Okay, and these NSS volunteers have constructed a houses which is now known as NSS Village or NSS Gram. So these NSS volunteers. So from 8th standard onwards, you can join in NSS as you know that. So these NSS volunteers have constructed a complete houses in that particular village. So it is later on called as the NSS village or NSS Gram. And during the Pobal gas tragedy, also this NSS group have been involved in counseling activities and creating awareness about the medical things. Okay, and during the cyclone and the earthquake hit in Gujarat in the year 1982 and 83, the NSS has played a very crucial role, and they have been involved in the distribution of cloths and food materials, medicines, and raised. They have also involved in the raising funds. And again, during the drought situation in 86, these NSS volunteers have done exemplary service for organizing cattle camps. Usually we used to focus on people, humans, but many times we forget animals, right? So this group have been involved organizing the cattle camps and fodder distribution for save the animals from the disasters. And many times these same kind of services have been done in the many floods, like in Mumbai flood, even in Chennai flood, even latest cyclone Fani, right? So in many times these, even during COVID-19 also, the NSS volunteers have been actively involved. And as you all aware, this tsunami to 26 December 2004, it was the worst natural disasters. And the I remember I have been also one part of this activity, and I was studying in first year in my college. After hearing this incident, I have also gone to those places like in a Kadalur and Navapatnam district. Like I still remember the village names also, Koyalpattu village and Samyarpete villages, where we have involved in food supply and medicines, clothes, and even we have also involved the rescue activity, right? And the another important thing, some group of NSS volunteers also involved repairing schools and monitoring the children, and many children were also become an orphan, and no one was there to take care of them. And the counseling sessions were also organized by the volunteers, and they have also distributed the relief materials to the affected people, right? So we have vast experience that the children and adolescents were actively involved in the disaster, which we need to further strengthen, right? So I will take my session very quickly, and I'll try to wind up by 1:10. See, during we have activities: pre-disaster risk reduction phase and post-disaster recovery phase. All right, these are the two different phases. And pre-disaster phase like a prevention, mitigation, preparedness, and response, recovery, and development activities which we can do. So we can involve adolescents in all these phases, and I'll give certain examples how you can involve in the children in the disaster risk reduction activity. Instead of I share, I would like to give an activity to you now. All right, since I have a much less time, so I would like to ask the participants. You may type in the chat box Give me an example of engaging children or involving children in the disaster risk reduction activity. My question is, type an example of involving children in the disaster risk reduction activity. Is it clear? I will give one example. Involving children in creating awareness about COVID-19. This is one example, right? And second, involving children in mobilizing resources. During the flood, you can involve children for mobilizing, collecting donations from the people, and they can donate to the affected people. For example, recently in Tamil Nadu, the program is being conducted in Pondicherry, so I'm sharing the example of Tamil Nadu. One child has donated his saving to the CM relief fund, COVID relief fund, right? After the child has saved his money for buying a cycle. So after knowing this, the CM also has give a gift of cycle to that particular girl child, right? This is one example how we can, and even for sanitizing the public places, you can use adolescents, and also like you can also involve children in creating awareness about how to wear mask, and you also can involve children in creating awareness about how to wash their hands. So there are some activities which I have given. Now I request all the participants to type at least one activity, how you can involve children in the disaster risk reduction activity. It is not engaging children during COVID-19. Please understand my question. You need to involve children in disaster. For example, during flood, how will you involve children? During drought, how will you involve children in drought reduction activities? Or for climate change adaptation, how will you involve children? I hope everyone understood my question. So I request all the participants, please type at least one activity for involving children. Okay. I got some answer. Mr. Joseph has written campaign. Reshma has written can train and learn about simple first aid. Very good. Yeah, children can be also trained about first aid so that they can help someone in the time of disaster. Yeah, children can be involved in distributing the essential like food items or dress materials. Great. They can be involved in awareness. Avinash has written children can engage poster presentation for creating awareness. Awareness creation and training is simple. So try to think some new activity. Encourage them to train in first aid. Okay. Art and dance. Okay. Educate to keep the waste. Okay. Yeah, can help COVID orphan. Good idea. Good. Helping the elders during the disaster. Great. See, creating awareness is one activity. Do not repeat. Try to think some new activity. How will you involve? For example, distribution of mask, and for even testing during COVID-19, they are taking the test, and there is a less human resource in the medical team, and they need someone to register for a registration. People who are coming for the testing. So for registration also you can involve adolescents. This is one example. Any other? So I request all of you to kindly write. Yeah, I request all of you to kindly type at least, yeah, mock drill is the best. Mock drill, great. Awareness creation about vaccination, good. Yeah, very nice. I request all of you to still write, and by the time I will show a small documentary movie so that you can understand again how you can involve children in the disaster risk reduction activity. It's 5 to 10 minutes, so it's very important so that you can easily understand how you can engage the children. So kindly bear with me. I'll take a maximum by 10, 110 or 115. I'll wind up the session. Can anyone confirm is it audible and visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's
Thank-
audible, visible yet to start.
Is it visible?
No, we can only hear you. We can't see the media file.
Is it not visible, ma'am? The movie?
Sir, the video is not visible, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry. I've shared wave only, but I don't know why it is not visible. Okay, I have to share.
Sir, it's visible for some of the participants, sir. So please proceed.
Okay, then it's fine. Okay. Participant, you may type in the chat box if it is visible and audible to you, please.
Of this land stay close to the nature. They love nature and are made to be loved by nature. Bangladesh is a riverine country, largely dependent on nature's. With its 1,000 arms, Mercy Goddess Nature has brought blessings of this country. Here, people have also seen the frightful, cruel face of Mother Nature. Due to the human-caused injustice to nature and climate change, now Bangladesh is the world's most disaster-prone region. Now, natural disasters such as flood, drought, tornado, cyclone, and spate have been a constant companion of this region's people. These natural disasters snatch people, asset, prospect, dream, and our future. Southern districts are the most disaster-prone regions of the world's most disaster-prone country, Bangladesh. Arif, the child, one of the southern districts. His habitat is the small ramshackle cottage. Arif and his family are still burying those memories of 2007's sitter. The sitter made his mother crippled. বলতে পারিনি বলতে এমনিতে হাত ধরাইছি এবার যে মেয়ের মানে পানি হচ্ছে পানি উঠে পর আমার বাড়িতে আরো ডাবাই গেছিল. But this disaster has changed his life. After this disaster, Arif has realized that surviving demands fighting with nature. For this, preparedness is needed. During that time, Arif met Omid. Omid inspired Arif to join Children's Club. Arif has received practical training on disaster preparedness in this Children's Club. Arif realizes what to do if disaster. Yeah. Not only Arif, there are more children in Children's Club. They get training to prepare.
Dr. Balu, they can hear double voices. Dr. Suresh, can you mute everyone again, please?
Is it echoing still? Was it echoing? Can anyone? Some
participants has written that it's echoing. Dr. Suresh can mute everyone again.
I'll play now. Yeah, many people are writing it's echo. I do not know what is the reason. I'll play now. You may again type it if it is echoing.
Before schedule যখন লেকচার আসছিলাম একটা জরুরি তো আপনার কাছ থেকে কিছু আমরা তথ্য আগে নিব যদি আপনি একটু সহযোগিতা করতেন আমার ঝড় আসছে গাছ পড়ে গেছে গাছটা কাইটে যে 5 জন মানুষ উঠিয়ে ফেলায় রাস্তাটা পরিষ্কার করে এরকম কোন লোকজন আছে নিজের ইচ্ছে
আপনার সাথে আমরা একটু আলোচনা করি.
Ma'am, is it okay for you, ma'am? Sahin, ma'am?
Yes, sir. I can hear, sir. I can hear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is
I
it
can
okay?
hear you proceed, sir. It's okay. It's okay. You proceed.
Okay.
Later on, you can put the video in the groups also, so they can see.
Yeah. Those who can't see, they can watch it later.
আপনাদের এলাকায় কি ধরনের দুর্যোগ হয়?
দুর্যোগ হয়েছে তো আমাদের এলাকায় ৮৮ সালের বন্যা হয়েছে, মারাত্মক বন্যা, যার কোনো মুখে কল্পনা করা যায় না।
On the basis of collected information, they exchange information related to disaster risks and strategies in yard meeting with the people of that area.
আমাদের এলাকায় বিভিন্ন সময় বিভিন্ন দুর্যোগ হয়, যেমন সিডর হয়েছে, আইলা হয়েছে। তো সেই বিষয়েই আমরা এখন আপনাদের সামনে আলাপ করব যে আমাদের এলাকায় কোন কোন ধরনের দুর্যোগ হয়েছে বা হওয়ার সম্ভাবনা আছে।
আপনাদের এলাকায় কি কি ধরনের দুর্যোগ হয়?
আমাদের এলাকায় সাধারণত দেখা গেছে ৬ ঋতুর দেশ তো, আর দ্বিতীয় কথা হলো নদীমাতৃক দেশ। এখন এই নিম্ন অঞ্চলে বরিশাল বিভাগের দেখা গেছে আমরা সবাই খেটে খাওয়া মানুষ, দেখা গেছে কৃষিকাজ করতে গেছি, হঠাৎ করে সিডর চলে আসছে।
এখানে মেন সড়কে বারহাট থেকে পিরোজপুর দিকে যে রোড গেছে সেই রাস্তার এটা হলো চালনার ব্রিজ। ব্রিজের পাশ থেকে একটা রাস্তা চলে গেছে, বৈরুবির দিকে চলে গেছে। এইখান থেকে শুরু করে আমি একদম সোজা, এটা হলো আমাদের মানে ইউনিয়নের দক্ষিণ সাইড, এটা হচ্ছে দক্ষিণ। এখন আমি দক্ষিণ থেকে শুরু করলাম। আমি চালনার পোল থেকে কিছু দূর আগে এসে আমরা মেন রোডের অর্থাৎ পশ্চিম পাশে একটি সাইক্লোন সেন্টার।
On the basis of all these, they make the map indicating disasters and resources. Club finalizes this map. Then, this map is presented in the meeting with Union Porishad. This design is finally approved here.
এখানে আমরা দেখছি ডিসপ্লেতে নভেম্বর ডিসেম্বরে বন্যার ঝুঁকি কম, কিন্তু আমাদের অভিজ্ঞতা থেকে বলছি যে আমরা সিডর ভয়াবহ সেই কন্টিনিউয়াস সিডর ফেস করছি নভেম্বরের 15 নভেম্বর 2000 সাল। এরপরে আরো সিগন্যাল আসছিল, সেগুলো হয়তো আমাদের এই অঞ্চলে আসে না, সেটিও নভেম্বরের মধ্যে ছিল। নভেম্বর মাসটাকে আমরা একেবারে মানে শুরু করে দেখতে পারিনি। আমি এখন আশাবাদী এর প্রাকৃতিক দুর্যোগ আমাদের অঞ্চলে আসে, যে সমস্ত ভাইরা আমাদের এই কাজের ব্যাপারে উৎসাহিত, আমরা ইনশাল্লাহ এখনো প্রাকৃতিক দুর্যোগ মোকাবেলা করতে সক্ষম হব।
Thus, Arif and the child of this human habitation have become a united force, ready to face disasters. These children suffer most in the natural disaster of Bangladesh. So, Arif's preparedness only mitigates disasters. Though Bangladesh has gone far ahead in the field of disaster risk reduction, still, children are ignored in disaster preparedness and strategies for confronting disasters. In order to change the situation, Save the Children has adopted society-based child-centered disaster risk reduction program. Along with partner organizations, Save the Children is preparing children like Arif in disaster-prone areas so that they can win over disasters. This club is preparing Arif and his friends to confront disasters. They are preparing themselves as trained children. Following this, 2,640 children are being prepared through 30 clubs to fight against disasters. Even the entertainments are disaster preparedness centered.
আকাশের অবস্থা বেশি একটা ভালো থাকতেছি না।
সঙ্গে ভবিষ্যতের প্রয়োজনীয় জিনিসপত্র নিয়ে নিরাপদ স্থানে আশ্রয় নিন। 8 নম্বর মহাবিকাশ সঙ্গে 8 নম্বর মহাবিকাশ সঙ্গে ভাইকে দরবার সিগন্যাল দিতেছে। তাড়াতাড়ি করতে করে না বাবা।
ভাইজান, এই যে লেখা পড়া ছুটি চলে আইলা, এ ধরে কি?
আমি কোন তারা মোমবাতি ম্যাচ করে দিতে পারে তুই এক মাটি নিচে গর্ত করে দিতে রাখুন 10 নম্বর মহাবিকাশ সঙ্গে 10 নম্বর মহাবিকাশ সঙ্গে
এ ভাইজান, বিপদ সংকেতের কথা কইতেছে।
ভয় ভয় ওই আইকেও কইছে টেলিভিশনেও দেখাইছে
Thus, an aware, united, and child-friendly population can mitigate disaster risks and handle disaster situation. Say, for example, Arif and his friends. Now, Arif is much more self-confident as well as self-assured.
2027 আমাদের সিডে হয়েছে সেই সিডে হয়েছে আমার মা পঙ্গু হয়ে গেছে আজকে যদি সেই সিডে আসে তাহলে আর আমার কোনো ক্ষয়ক্ষতি হবে না আমার পরিবারের কোনো ক্ষয়ক্ষতি হবে না প্লাস আমার আত্মীয় স্বজনদের কোনো ক্ষয়ক্ষতি হবে না কারণ আমি এখন জানি যে দুর্যোগ আসলে কি করতে হবে দুর্যোগ চলাকালীন সময় কি করতে হবে দুর্যোগ শেষে আমাদের কি করতে হবে আমি এখন সব বিষয়ে জানি আর তাই আমি এখন বলতে পারি দুর্যোগ আসলে আমার আমার মনে হয় আমার পরিবার সহ আমি যাদেরকে এই বিষয়ে জানাইছি তাদের কারোই কোনো ক্ষতি হবে না
All of them are self-assured. A self-assured Bangladesh like this can be the prime force to handle the disaster situation. Disasters are bound to come, but need to be handled with sufficient preparedness. A prepared generation can mitigate disaster effects.
With this, let me stop my session, and we have discussed the importance of engaging children in the disaster risk reduction activities, and also we have seen certain case studies and institutional mechanism for engaging children in DRR. And now the last documentary video might very much helpful for you to understand how you can engage children in DRR. So let me stop and over to you, Sahin ma'am. If time permits, we can have one or two important questions, otherwise as you wish.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Balu. I think as of now, no questions have come up in the chat box, so I'll just see in case anything is coming up. I'll let you know, sir. I just request you to reiterate the information which you gave about the NIDM portal registration. So in the meantime, any questions come up in the chat box, I'll read it out for you, sir. Without probably even without the portal description, you can explain, sir.
Okay. So
Just
please,
one last time, yeah.
Sure. Please click the link given in the chat box or in the WhatsApp group. Once you click, if you are a new user to this portal, click register. Once you click register, the one-time registration window will open. You need to enter all your personal details like a name, email ID, mobile number, and where you are working. And after that, you need to click register. So once you completed one-time registration, now you will have email ID and password for login with this portal. So again, click on home, and now the login tab will be there. You need to enter your email ID and password. Click login, right? Once you click login, you need to click on upcoming events. In upcoming events, you need to find this particular program, process orientation training program on CCDRR. Please be careful because the same program is scheduled in two, three institutes. So try to find the collaborative institute as Pondicherry University. Once you find, click enroll. Once you click enroll, you will be receiving the mail and it will show start course. Don't worry about it. If it shows if it is showing start course, no need to worry. You are successfully registered and enrolled. Okay, now you can just participate in the course. Tomorrow we may explain the process of downloading the certificate. Hope all of you understood, and The guide is shared in the chat bar, sorry, in the WhatsApp group. You can go through the guide if you are having any specific doubt. And please remember, you need to note down your password, and joining email ID and registration email ID should be same. Sometimes it may not work in the mobile phone because of your mobile settings, so you need to check. If it is shows error, then you need to check with your mobile settings. So in that case, you can join, you can try through the desktop. Yeah, thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. I think we had 2 sessions today, very interactive, very interesting and thought-provoking. And I think both Dr. Ranjan Kumar and as well as Dr. Balu has given us enough food for thought to take it ahead. Professor Nalini has joined, but she's amidst some official work. Hence, she's not here with us for giving the concluding remarks. However, she's just attended the session and she's passed on that she'll be joining with us tomorrow. I sincerely take this opportunity to thank all the delegates who, like yesterday, joined on time and who are coming up with a lot of comments and suggestions in the chat box. As we already informed you all in the beginning, the coordinators are handling the WhatsApp groups and it's only the inputs from their side which has been put so that you will attend, you will understand what is it being communicated both the days and you will respond accordingly in the days when you come and attend the workshop. And I repeat, one of the delegate had asked whether you have to register every day. I repeat again, you need to register for the program on NIDM portal only once. You need not register it every day. Okay, your registration has to be done on the NIDM portal. We are only the collaborating organization. So your auto generation certificates will be done only if you register on the NIDM portal. And I think almost 80% of them have responded that they have registered. For the other people who had difficulties, I think Dr. Balu has repeated twice today. So I'm sure it must have taken care of your queries. If you further have any problems, you can write on the mails which has been put in the brochure, or you can again repeat your questions tomorrow. He'll be patient enough to address all your queries. So I don't see any major questions coming up in the chat box. We had stretched a little extra 5 to 10 minutes because of the technical glitch. However, inconvenience caused is regretted from the entire team at the Department of Social Work, Pondicherry University and NIDM Delhi. We sincerely thank all the delegates for having joined on time and attend throughout the session and also coming up with a lot of suggestions and queries. Thank you one and all. We hope to see you tomorrow, same time, 10:50, and hope to have a very interactive and an insightful talk tomorrow also from our resource persons. Thank you one and all. Thank you, Dr. Balu. Thank you, all of you.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. Now I'm ending the meeting now.
Thank you. Thank you.